good, that shit awesome. I got offsets, clean them off with awesome. Switching lanes, swerving cause I awesome. Nigga run up.
March 3rd, I'm gonna be 27 in 16 days.
Damn. Yeah, that's not even that old.
Dude, come on now. Let's not play games. It's pretty fucking old. It's old enough to where you're like embarrassed to say it online, you know?
At least
like,
it's not 30.
Yeah, but in real life you're like 27, people are still like, "Oh, like that's not too bad." But if you say I'm 27 on Twitter, it's just like, "Oh, you're a fucking piece of shit."
It's like an OG Max B situation a little bit.
Literally, yeah. It's like, "Oh, you're 27 talking about having Snapchat, like you're a rapist." You're a rapist. Who are you? Who are you talking to on Snapchat if you're 27 besides a child?
So,
you know?
Do you have Snapchat?
Yeah, absolutely. Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. But yeah, dude, it's just like after, bro. It depends on your lifestyle and everything. But after like 25, you're back. Oh, you're back. Getting up at the literally. I can't. I don't think I've ever, like in the last 2 years, I don't think I've ever moved at all without making some sort of sound,
Yeah.
So yeah, dude. But honestly, I will say, physical stuff aside, like I think it's shit just gets like way better, at least personally for me, like mentally, just confidence wise, like 25. Okay, so I'll say 23, 24, 25, like sucked, like ass. And then end of 26 to fucking like right now has just been, you're more sure of yourself. You're just like, I don't know, you've been around the block enough to where you just aren't as insecure, but not just insecure in like the normal sense of the word, but also just like, I don't know, who you are as a person in life, you know? So that part's dope, but yeah, your back hurts a lot.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like the early 20s, it's a very confusing time.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, just everything that happens to you, like, most people are finishing up college and trying to go out into like the world, and that's just like a rough transition because, if you're in college, you're used to like being around your friends or being around, not to be vulgar, but you're around fresh snatch all day. It's amazing. But then you go from that to like, they're like, you have to go find it.
Yeah.
And that's fucking terrifying.
It's like going from a jungle to a desert.
Absolutely. But yeah, dude, like, yeah, there's just so much shit that happens at that point. And like on a physiological, like from a physiological perspective, your brain is not really done developing until you're like 25, 26.
Yeah.
And so, you're still cooking at that point. And so like you are going to experience some chaos in your life. I mean, if you could just think about how like turbulent being a teenager is and going through puberty is, like that doesn't just end because you're not a teenager anymore.
Yeah.
You're still kind of experiencing that, but it's not as physical and hormonal. It's more like mental.
Yeah, you're right.
Yes, sir.
We're already getting insightful. It's been 5 minutes.
Bro, we gotta get philosophical. Otherwise, what's the point?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. Hey, just a reminder: if you have Amazon Prime, you can
spend it in his channel, not mine.
You can subscribe to G for free. Jeff Bezos will get half, but G will get the other half. So.
Yeah, let's go. Sub up, boys.
Go. Yes, sir.
I got a little list for you of like stuff I just want to know about you. I can just start firing them off.
Let's do it.
I want to know what the life of Sweaty Harry was like before he was Sweaty Harry.
What do you like when you say that? Like, what exactly? Like, what do you like before Twitter? Before
like all that. Like, what were you like at college as a young kid? Just lay it on me, bro.
Man, that's a heavy duty one. I mean, I think like personally, so the like cute answer is, I mean, like I've always been Sweaty Harry, so there's there's no before and after because that's just something you either are or you aren't.
True.
But yeah, I mean, I would honestly be hard pressed to like say that I was any different because I'm just try not to be like an insincere like person or dishonest person. Even I obviously like a lot of like my online persona, if you want to call it that, is
Yeah.
built around joking. Um, I do that with some level of sincerity. But yeah, I mean, growing up, just like a pretty hyper kid, like being the center of attention, just like talking shit and saying shit and talking in general. And yeah, that never really changed. I was like fat for a little bit, and I think that helped out with like gaining a personality as well.
Yeah, that's
We've
very.
talked about that a little bit, but I think it's important. Like, I think if anything, there should be like a federal mandate that like through certain years, like you're just fat,
Yeah,
and then it makes you stronger, and then you can just like shed it and become like a dope individual, like a humble individual.
yeah,
You
it's
know,
very true.
because I'm very sexy, good looking, handsome, immaculate, symmetry's on point, everything is perfect, work of art, but I'm humble at the same time. So like,
Oh yeah.
so like all of that together, like that's what you have to do, I think.
Oh,
Yeah.
so how many years were you fat? Was it like
I don't know. It's like so like it wasn't like fat, it's just more like chunky,
yeah.
but probably from like I would say maybe like 5th grade to like senior year of high school. So I guess that would be like 6 years of pain.
Yeah, we're on the
You know?
same. I was fat for like my since maybe I would say fourth to junior year, so we're in the same boat of pain in
Yeah.
school.
Dude, yeah. I mean, well, do you feel like it taught you some lessons?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it could have just made me a lot more insecure, honestly.
Yeah, maybe it did. Yeah, maybe that's what maybe it's really not a good thing. But I think like for me, it was just like I never got made fun of because of it. One, because I wasn't like dramatically fat.
Yeah,
Like as long as you're not the fattest kid in the room, you're good.
exactly. Yeah,
And you also just have to have like, I mean, I hate to say it, but you have to have an alpha mentality. Like if you project the feeling that like you can be made fun of, then people are going to make fun of you, especially at school.
yeah,
And if you're not funny on top of that, it's like, oh man, you're gonna have a rough time. Like I was chunky, I had Harry Potter glasses, like not a great haircut probably most of the time, but like I didn't have any bullies. Like I was friends with everybody. It's just because you have to, you got to be able to talk shit. If you can't
yeah.
talk shit and just like make people laugh, then yeah, you definitely don't want to be like fat with Harry Potter glasses. Not a good.
It's
not a
not
good
good,
look.
man. It's not
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
So,
What else you got?
I got the whole spiel for you. So, you
All
just
right,
moved,
let's
you moved to LA. How long have you been living here for?
So I moved to LA July 31st, 2017. So it's been a little bit over 2.5 years at this point. Yeah.
So, do you like it or is it
Yeah.
like hyped up?
No, I mean, it just depends like what part of it you're talking about, like what aspect of it. I personally love it. Like I think I'll be here for a long time. But you just have to like it's the same thing as, turning 27. Like you have to have some experience under your belt here before you can really start to appreciate it. And
Yeah.
like being a little bit over 2 years in at this point, like I finally am starting to feel like I kind of get it. And yeah, it's just like, having a job where like your commute doesn't fucking suck, that helps. Like
Yeah.
the last job I had, it was just atrocious, and now it's a lot better, so that helps, and things like that. So like the traffic's awful. There's way too many people. You have the normal problems that any like big city has, like
Yeah.
that homelessness crisis, like that type of shit, like things that like social problems. But all of that notwithstanding, like I think it's a really dope place to live. There's a lot of nature like right next to you. There's always some bullshit going on, like if you're into bullshit. It's just a good place for like careers as well, like especially if you're in either entertainment or a creative industry. So for me, like being like at an ad agency, like this is just like a dope place to have that type of job.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So yeah, dude. I mean, I think it's great. Like the cost of living is also pretty high. So if you can like manage that, then it's good. But you know, I probably won't be here forever. But I like being here right now. And it was important for me to go off on my own and like not, you know, no offense, but like not live with my parents anymore.
Oh yeah, no.
But like you're 22, like I was living with my parents until I was like, when I came here, I was 24. So I had like a brief stint where I lived in Atlanta. And so I was alone at that time, but it was only like 9 months. And I knew in the back of my head the whole time I was there that like I was going to get the fuck out.
Yeah.
So I went back, lived with my parents in Dallas. And then finally it was just like, okay, like if I don't get out now, I'm not going to get out.
Yeah.
And so I did that. And it's such like a valuable thing to do if you have the resources to do it. Because there's just so much shit that you don't need to learn if you have that level of comfort and like safety. And there's just so much shit like you can't do. Like it's a totally different experience. And like after living alone for a few years, I just feel way more capable. Like I would definitely be fine going anywhere else alone and doing that.
Yeah. That shit scares the shit out of me, honestly.
Well, what part of it scares you?
I don't know, just the full-on like being alone type of thing. Like that's very daunting.
I mean, you don't have to be alone. Like I have roommates, like I have friends and stuff. Like so, I live with people. It's just living with your mom and dad is a totally different experience.
Yeah, you're true. That's very true.
And I think it's like, dude. I mean, I'm sure you can relate to this, but like. After 3 days of seeing your parents, you're like, all right, I'm good. Like,
yeah,
I'll see you guys in 3 months. You know, like I talk to my family every day, but you know, actually being there and stuff, like it can be a lot. And it could just be super like
overwhelming.
Oppressive. Like, especially if your parents are more conservative. So, like, what's your dynamic with your parents?
We're pretty close. I don't know. I usually just like do my own thing, and then we just talk for a little bit. Then I just go back to doing my own thing. It's like one of those type of deals.
Yeah. So they're not like in your shit too much.
I mean, they are, but they aren't. Depends on the day, you know.
Yeah. Do they want you to move out?
Nah, they actually don't care about that. But they want me to like excel more, you know.
In what sense?
Like getting a real job.
Oh, okay. Wait, so like, what's your job now?
Well, other than streaming, no, I'm just kidding. I'm taking a break from school, so I'm just delivering pizzas and shit because it's good money and I'm lazy, so
for sure.
Job. Very easy.
Have you had any like weird experiences delivering pizzas?
I gotta think, man.
Okay.
It can get really weird. There's this really old couple they deliver to.
Yeah.
And they make you go inside of their house, but like it smells like they just shit and piss all over themselves. So it's disgusting.
They probably do. Yeah. Do they make you like? Do you have to like jerk one of them off before you can go?
Oh no. That's at least $50 tip for me to do that. But
yeah, that's scary, man. Oh, what's up, Q? How you doing, man?
What up, Quantum? Yeah, it's
what's up, man? It's my homie.
It's disgusting.
Yeah, that's fucking gross, dude. What were you studying before you took a break?
I was doing biology because I really liked animals and shit, but that shit was hard as fuck. So.
Oh, okay. So like you're taking a break to like reevaluate what you want to study, or you're taking a break to just reevaluate like school in general, like maybe you don't want to go to college and like spend that kind of money, like is that what's going on?
I'm definitely. I just said deaf. What the hell's wrong with me?
Hey, go for it.
I'm just rethinking about what I want to do there. I definitely want to go back though, for sure.
Okay, so like, what do you think? What do you think you would study if, let's say, ideal world, you go back, like, got everything figured, like mental health figured out. You're piping on a regular basis. Everything's cool, and you're going back to school. Like, what would you study?
I don't know. I was thinking like computer graphics and shit like that.
Oh, okay. That'd be
Yeah,
cool.
it would be cool.
So like 3D graphics, like,
Yeah, stuff like
okay.
that.
Yeah,
Maybe
that'd be
like,
sick, man.
I don't know. My community college sucks, and I didn't really give a shit in high school, so I couldn't go to like a good school. So
Oh, okay.
I'm in one of those type of boats.
Yeah, I mean, you could always like
Transfer.
work your way. Yeah, transfer, work your way up. Like school, you can transfer. There's always like courses and certifications you can get. I mean, a lot of that shit, like, it's more so just the fact that you can do it than having gone to school.
Yeah.
Like, I will say that if anything, my bachelor's degree, just the existence of it being on my resume was important, but nobody ever gave a shit about like what I accomplished when I was at school. It was just the fact that I had one.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you know, pardon my French, it's a retard check. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, can you read? Like, can you take directions? Are you like a total social pariah? That type of shit.
Yeah. For sure.
But I know plenty of successful dudes who like either dropped out, like didn't finish for one reason or another. It's just like you may have to find something, you know, alternative, like out of the ordinary.
Yeah.
It may not be like a typical corporate job pattern, but like that's probably not what you want anyway. So it kind of just forces you to get scrappy.
Maybe I'll just make an OnlyFans account.
Dude, fuck it, you might as well. You said it says viewer questions at the end. So are we? If someone asks a question in the chat, we don't address it?
Yeah, not until the end because I kind of want to get my shit off. You know.
Are you
usually
them,
I usually just ask everybody at the end. You can
okay.
scroll up and look too.
But... All right, everybody. Hey, save your fucking questions until the end. Don't fuck. Hey, listen, man.
Don't fuck up the flow.
Yeah. Just compliments only. But yeah, I mean, I literally don't know why we're talking about that, but that's my 2 cents.
Yeah. Now you kind of like I was gonna ask you like seems like you moved around a lot. Like where did you like living the most?
I would say here. I mean, I didn't move around a ton. Like I was born and raised like outside of Dallas, and I only moved to Atlanta after college, and I was there for about 9 months. Came back to Texas, and then came out here like a couple of years after being back in Texas. So I moved a lot within that like span of time. So from like 2014 to 2017. But now that I'm here, I'll probably be here for a minute.
Yeah. Have you met any celebrities there?
So I haven't like met any, like maybe like minor, like super minor ones in terms of like actually meeting them and having a conversation. But I've seen a lot of celebrities just like out and about, which has always been cool. So like my last job, I used to work in Santa Monica, and
nice.
it's like a super bougie area, and it's right next to a part of town called Brentwood, and a lot of like celebrities live up there. It's kind of like tucked away, private, like their kids go to the schools there because they're really nice. So you'll see like celebrities just like hanging out in Santa Monica. So I've seen Adam Sandler twice.
That's fucking sick.
Yeah, and like he gave me like a head nod, like a homie head nod. That was cool, like both times. So I was like, okay, cool, like I'm in.
Yeah.
I saw Adam Sandler. I saw Bruce Willis. Basically the same part of town. I don't know if you're like into movies at all, but I saw Paul Thomas Anderson.
Nice.
Just like hanging out at a restaurant I was going to.
Oh, that's crazy.
Who the fuck else? Chelsea Handler, the chairman of the DNC, Tom Perez. Seen him.
Wow.
Oh, man, who the fuck? There's so many people. Oh, Cuba Gooding Jr. I saw Cuba Gooding Jr. just like literally right outside the place where I work, like getting into a car.
Holy shit.
And and so saw Cuba. I saw Kevin Abstract like walking around with his boyfriend. Like they walked right past me.
Can I ask you a question? If they asked, like, if they just randomly came up to you and you're like, hey, listen, we're about to go have some fun. Do you want to join? Would you?
I mean, yeah, fuck it, let's go. Like, I mean, they're not specifically saying like, hey, dude, like we want to fuck you in the ass or vice versa. You know, I'll be like, yeah, let's go have some fun. Like, let's go, you know, go on a roller coaster or I don't know, play baseball or something. Like, we don't have to fuck or anything, but yeah, why not? Why, you know, might as well.
Yeah, fuck it, I would too.
Have the experience. Yeah, but
didn't you?
I don't know. I was just saying, I don't really like to like talk to celebrities if I see them, you know, because they just always look like they always look like they're not trying to get seen because they have like hats on, sunglasses. Adam Sandler was like pretty much the only one who didn't, because I just think he just genuinely does not give a fuck. But yeah, so all the other ones, it's like, do I really want to stop this dude's day? Like, stop him from walking to wherever he's walking. Yeah. And then for what? Just to be like, hey man, like you're Adam Sandler, and he's like, yeah. And then you're like, all right, cool, see you later. You know, or like, yeah, you could ask for a picture, but like, even that, like, what's that for? You know, like, just the experience itself is cooler. Yeah, and I think, oh yeah, last week I saw Matthew Gray Gubler as well. So,
oh nice.
I think that's the full list.
Didn't you run into Adam 22 or something?
Oh yeah, well yeah, I don't really consider him like, I always think of like people in entertainment, like genuine entertainment,
like real like celebrities.
Yeah, so like it was the first time that my buddy Max was visiting LA, and we were riding around town and we were driving past Fairfax, and yeah, Adam 22 was just like, he was just like chilling on a bike outside of his store, and there were like 50 what looked like 17-year-olds just like hanging out with him. And I was like, huh, that's kind of weird. So yeah, I did have a chance to assassinate him, and I didn't do it. So hopefully that'll earn me some good karma. Yeah.
I'm sorry for bringing that story up. I just think it's hilarious.
No, it is. It was really funny. So yeah, those dudes, and yeah, I mean, other than that, like just like Twitter people who are definitely not celebrities, but like think they are, and are like psychopaths because of that. Like I met Kellen, the dude who like got canceled, and yeah, that's definitely one of those like psychopath type dudes. Yeah. Yeah, just a whole bunch of folks like that.
Yeah, not good.
Well, I don't know if you saw like the whole like Connor Golden thing.
Nah. What is that?
Oh, well, he's like a dude on Twitter who's like, he kind of was slightly big-ish on like leftist Twitter, and just had a lot of like, you know, friends and stuff. And it turned out that he was like multiple people outed him as being like a serial like rapist and abuser.
Scumbag.
And like I met that dude.
Oh, I think I saw that actually.
Yeah, so like I met him at a party. And this was obviously like way before anything like that happened. And he was playing guitar at the party. And so like I should have seen the warning signs. I should have seen, only a psychopath would do that. And so I should have stepped in and said something. But the worst part is he asked to be on my stream last Saturday, like the one that I did last Saturday, like last week he asked me. And that was like 2 days before the accusations came out. And I was like, yeah, dude, that was fun. Come through. And then that happened. I was like, oh, okay, I guess we don't have to do that. And obviously it's not a good thing that any of that happened. Like, you know, terrible situation. But I really didn't want to do that with him. So like, you know,
God's looking out, bro.
Yeah, it was a win for me, you know? Yeah.
Speaking of Twitter, man, like, what do you feel like? What does it feel like to have such a huge following on there?
It's fine, honestly, man. Like, I think for me, like it didn't happen overnight. So it was never like a shocking thing or like something I wasn't prepared for. It just slowly, like incrementally just built up and grew. So I mean, obviously I'm biased because it's me, but I would like to think that it like didn't change me at all as a person or make me feel like better than anyone because dude, I mean, just because you have more Twitter followers, like literally says nothing about you, like
It's
as a
very
person.
true.
So whenever people like bring that up or like, oh, you're a Twitter celebrity, like that type of shit, I'm just like, just shut the fuck up. Like it's so stupid. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's fun. Like I love it. It literally got me the job that I have right now.
Yeah.
But that side of it has always been like super weird to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just over the course of like a couple years, like the initial growth was pretty strong, and then pretty steady growth from there, and like I'll probably hit 100K at some point, but like I don't think it's gonna happen like anytime soon.
Are you gonna have like a 100K party or something like that? Take a bunch of Instagram pictures and stuff.
I don't, yeah, I'm gonna have a 100K party. I'm gonna rent out a fucking baseball stadium, and then I'm gonna kill myself. But I just, I'm sure I would like post something, but I'll do a balls reveal at 100K. I'll do an ass reveal. But yeah, it would just, that would be cool because it's just like that number is dope, like that crossing that threshold. Like hitting 10K was cool, and like hitting 50K was cool.
That's insane.
And so like hitting 100K would be cool too.
Is there anything you don't like about having that many people follow you?
The only thing it's weird about or like weird with is or has been weird for me in life is like in relationships, especially if the other person like uses Twitter as well, because I like to joke about my life. Like obviously I'm a private person. I don't really mention specific details. Yeah. But like I like to pull things from my life because what else are you going to talk about and like be sincere about? So like that's caused some friction just in terms of like, oh, I'm not happy that you posted that, or just like the amount of time I spend on it, like especially if they're a conscious user of Twitter and they see you like liking certain things or
that's
like posting certain things. It's like my ex just like constantly would be looking through my likes tab, which like she wasn't totally wrong to be doing that because I was being an asshole, but at the same time it's like I'm under constant surveillance, you know what I mean? There's nothing I can do where it's not going to be seen by like thousands of people.
Yeah.
So it's like I was kind of a demon for a while and just like doing like sex stuff on Twitter and DMing people and having them DM me and like exchanging nudes and all this shit that like in hindsight is just like a really terrible idea. Not even from a moral standpoint, because I don't think that's immoral or anything, but just from the standpoint of exposure. Like
you're lucky your dick wasn't on somebody's TL.
Right. Like I have sent my dick to so many people that the fact that it hasn't popped up somewhere is so surprising to me.
Let's not put that energy out.
Right. But it's always one of those situations where like they probably sent me their pussy too, so it's like it's mutually assured destruction.
True.
Yeah. Also, if somebody leaked my dick pic, I would just be like, all right, well, now you know what my dick looks like. I guess I have no more secrets.
Like, you just recycle that one.
Dude, it would just be freeing, like so much of social anxiety is based off of the fact of like it's like dick anxiety. It's like,
oh dude, I get it so much.
Yeah, it bleeds into every aspect of life. Like not even and I mean that in the overall sense, not just your actual penis, but like who you are as a man and like what you're capable of achieving and how strong you are. But people like put all of that energy into a totem, and that totem is your dick.
Yeah.
And so if my dick was out there, it's like all those other aspects of my life I can just be honest about. It's like, okay, you know what my dick looks like? Cool. Like I don't have to fake anything anymore, because like so much of bullshit and like fake swagger from dudes just like based off of insecurity about their masculinity. So once that's out, you have nothing to worry about. Yeah. So maybe I will leak it. It'll be like freeing myself.
You heard it here first, guys.
Yeah. So like, at the end of Aladdin, like the genie, his like, his like cuffs fall off and he's free. That's me when my dick pic goes out. I'm gonna rub my wrists and I'm gonna fly into Saudi Arabia or where the fuck he went at the end of that movie. I don't know.
Oh shit.
We're gonna do 100K cock reveal.
100K. I'm doing mine at 1,000 followers.
Oh wow! So dude. You gotta pace yourself out because you always want somewhere to grow. If you bust out the cock at 1,000, what are you gonna do for 10,000? You know what I mean?
That's so
You're
true.
gonna have to release a video. So start with something small and besides your cock and work your way up.
Yeah, very true. Very
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
So, who are some of your favorite people on Twitter? Like some of the accounts that you follow.
So some of my favorites are like obviously I'm a huge fan of Chris. Iced out Omnitrix.
Oh yeah, he's a
That's
beast.
that's my homie. Like I was mutuals with Chris when he had like 1,000 followers
Oh
like
shit.
years ago. Like we've been mutuals for years, and just seeing him like explode has been really awesome and like gratifying. Um, it's so interesting because I'm such a piece of shit, and I'm normally such a jealous person, but in situations like that, it's just like I'm just proud, you know. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's like, oh, that's my homie. Like he's killing it. Um, Same thing with Sass. Like he just did really well, and I always think his tweets are funny.
Yeah.
And we talk all the time, and yeah, those dudes. Like I don't know if you know Chain Body.
Dude, he's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, that's probably my favorite Twitter account of all time. So yeah, if you don't follow Chain Body, go follow Chain Body because just I don't know, dude, like the Asian, like freestyling video or like dudes doing like Forever by Eminem, like that type of shit, just like makes me go crazy. Like no format tweeters or like anybody like that. I actually think are like funny. Like that to me is just like nothing about that is like entertaining to me.
Yeah.
I get why people do it, and like I do it, of course, obviously as well. But like, I'm not reading my own timeline and being like, "Oh, that's funny," and like laughing,
Yeah.
because that would be psychotic.
Insane.
Yeah. So it's the same thing with like other people's content that's like that. I'm just like, oh, it's like I can recognize that it's clever, but to make me laugh, you need a video of an Asian dude rapping Forever badly. Like that's where my threshold is at, you know.
Yeah.
And I feel like honestly, I feel like Twitch is way funnier than Twitter for that type of shit because so much of humor is reliant on tone and delivery.
Yeah.
And if you can be funny on Twitter, that's a masterful skill because
It's
you
hard.
have to do it. You have to communicate everything through text or images. But like you could hop on Twitch and like I can just have a shit talking session. You might get like 50 jokes out, and a certain percentage of them are at least going to be funny.
Yeah.
And you don't. It's different than like spitting out like 50 tweets because then you're fucking spamming people and you're an asshole.
You lose like 20 followers.
Right. And when people are watching your stream, there's selection bias. Like they chose to watch your stream and they're investing time in your stream. So it's in their best interest to think you're funny. So it's almost like even if you're not that funny, like they will kind of pretend that you are, which is nice. At a certain level, of course.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I get what you're saying.
So like I can be in the stream and just talk bullshit and people are like, oh, like you never miss, like that type of shit.
Dude, but you are funny as fuck. You are very funny.
I'm all right, but it's just that type of stuff is like really like funny to me.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Weren't you a comedian for a little bit?
I mean, I would like to say that I still am. I did stand up for a bit, so I don't really do that anymore. But I mean,
why not?
Most of okay, a few factors like it. Basically, so the first thing was like it was giving me incredible amounts of anxiety. When I would go on stage, I would feel amazing and like have a really good time, and most of the time do well.
Yeah.
Of course, you're gonna bomb here and there, but like overall, I got good responses from like people who were honest with me, like people who I knew wouldn't bullshit me, or people that weren't even my friends, like promoters and bookers. Oh, someone said Bernie won California. Oh, fuck yeah, that's awesome. That's sick. So yeah, so like I was cool and confident once I was on stage, and the feeling right after was it was like that's like a high that is super difficult to replicate. Like just that rush and that feeling, like you just feel amazing. If you can make a room of people who don't know you laugh just because of shit that you thought up, like genuinely laugh, you're like, I'm Jesus Christ, like I'm amazing.
That's like
Like, you
natural
feel,
Viagra.
yeah, exactly. You feel like cracked out. But the everything leading up to stepping on stage was like the worst fucking feeling of my life in terms of anxiety, just overall sense of doom, like just all this shit. Like I was chain smoke, like I couldn't do anything because I couldn't focus on anything.
Yeah.
I don't know if now it would be different because I'm a much less anxious person now in general,
Mhm.
and like I don't drink, I don't smoke, I literally quit cigarettes 2 days ago. I haven't smoked weed in months. Like I don't.
Congrats.
Oh, thanks. I don't even drink coffee anymore. So like my emotional regulation is way better because I just have less external influences.
Yeah.
So I might try it one day, but honestly, like the performing part is dope, but I prefer writing anyway. So yeah, so like the writing part is what I like, and as far as another factor of it is distance and like time investment. So if you're a dude who works like a 9 to 5, you got to go to open mics after work. A lot of times you're like driving to them and like they're pretty far. You're having to spend like an hour maybe watching people who absolutely fucking suck at stand up. And then you go up and you might absolutely fucking suck too. And the worst thing about open mics is like you're performing for people. The only people in the room are comics. So you're performing for other people who want to get on stage. So they don't give a fuck about you. Like they're not there to laugh. They're there to get practice being on stage, just like you are.
Yeah.
So it's usually like really dead rooms, which in a way is a good thing because it sharpens your teeth and it makes you get used to people not laughing. So when you go into a room full of drunk people, like you're totally ready because they're so susceptible to laugh. You just like, it's like taking the weighted like ankle weights off. If you're like Rock Lee, you're just like, all right, I did stand up for piece of shit comics who like don't think anything is funny. I'm about to go into this room of like drunk 40-year-old like white people and just crush. So that part of it's good and bad. And then, yeah, just like I knew in my heart that it wasn't something I wanted to like spend out like years of my life crafting and moving towards, because I just honestly couldn't see myself being a stand-up comedian like as a career. And so part of it was also just me saying like, well, why waste my time doing that? And then like, why take up space that somebody else who really wants it can fill, you know? Like if you're passionate enough, you're gonna like be able to make it in there. And I just didn't have that level of actual passion for it. Like I've always been a dude who tells jokes. I've always had people tell me to do stand up. I've always tried to be entertaining with like friends and just with people. But that doesn't necessarily mean like it's something you have to do as a career. A lot of people take that as like, oh, well, it's my, you know, what do people call it? Like my calling, like whatever. It's like, okay, like maybe not. Like maybe there's no such thing as a real calling. Maybe you have certain skill sets that can apply to many different things, and then just figure out which one of those things you really like. And for me, like all of those skills can be applied to like writing, humor, and you know, just creative writing in general. So yeah, I mean, that's sort of what it came down to.
Yeah. Wow,
Yeah.
that's interesting.
It's also just like incredibly demotivating to try and do it because
it seems scary.
Not even just that part, but like having to watch other comics and like see the people who are like 2, 3, 4 years ahead of you, and just see them absolutely miserable. You're like, okay, well, why am I trying to do this? Like, is it because I want to be Chris D'Elia? Because that's probably not going to happen. Like, I shouldn't base it around that. Like, it just didn't appeal to me, like the lifestyle at all. And like, to be totally frank, like I'm kind of a pretentious person. I'm used to like a certain standard of living, and like, you know, I get grossed out by poor people, like all this shit.
God.
No, I'm fucking around. But like I'm used to like nice shit. And so
I get that.
For me to be in like bars half my life, like that just sounds fucking terrible. And I don't want to do it. So yeah, I just didn't.
Good for you, man. Good for
Thanks.
you. I think you're crushing it as a Twitch comedian.
Oh, that was another thing I was gonna say. It's like, okay, so if I have you know, 80 some odd thousand followers, and I go on Twitch and I promote my Twitch, and I have, you know, maybe like 20, 25 people in my room every night, that's like, you're definitely not going to do that when you're doing stand up, you're not gonna have that every night. So it's like
Yeah.
I have a bigger audience on Twitter and on Twitch, and I can do that from my fucking chair in my room. And I can do different creative things that I might not be able to do from a production standpoint with like stand up and other performances, either cost or just like availability of space. Whereas like here, I can play video games, I can watch movies, I can watch stupid videos, I can critique things, I can draw. Like it's just the limits and the gatekeeping is totally removed.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm into. So I just don't like leaving my room.
Me neither.
Yeah, and so having to go to like a bunch of different places and meet strangers and talk in front of people fucking sucks. And
Oh yeah.
just like I don't want to say I've bombed, but like I've just like had to perform at bars where like most of the people aren't there to see stand up, but there's still like an open mic or like a performance going on with like 5 or 6 comics, and just that is the most miserable thing on the planet. 'Cause just have dudes like eating chicken wings and drinking beer. Like, who the fuck is this guy? Like, why is he up here telling jokes? Like,
At a Hooters.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I was just at some rinky-dink bar, and I'm like having to do this, and it just felt like it's just like, okay, this isn't very satisfying. So
Yeah. Now you're on to
Yeah.
bigger and better things. You're gonna be like Ninja one day.
hopefully not like him specifically, but yeah, it would be nice to have a platform that big. Yeah.
So getting back to the Twitter stuff, what do you think is like some of the corniest stuff that some of these larger accounts do?
That's a great question. I think becoming friends with other big accounts and like hanging out with them in real life, not even because they necessarily like get along, but just because it's like, oh, I'm hanging out with Twitter people, and like people on Twitter like respond to that and see it. Like if they see 2 people that they like and follow hanging out, they're like, oh my god, like my faves are hanging out and shit. That type of shit. That type of shit always bothers me because I am like that. Like my good friends are from Twitter, so like I know when it's real.
Yeah.
And I can just tell when they're being like insincere, and it always ends up either verifying itself or disqualifying itself, because half of the time, or like 70% of the time, within like a few months, they have some sort of stupid Twitter beef and like aren't friends anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that type of shit is always really annoying. I mean, tweet decking is obviously like the biggest one. People just like blatantly ripping off tweets. I think
That's
like
the worst.
Yes, and honestly, something that's I almost respect people who just straight up steal tweets more than people who like don't have their own voice and just like copy other people or and it's one thing to like take inspiration and like follow people you think are funny and like kind of mold yourself after them, but I'm talking about people who like they see you tweeting about something and then like 2 hours later they have a version of it but like haven't even liked the one that you did or like acknowledged it in any way. It's just like, oh, I have a unique perspective and like an observation, and like now I guess that's your unique perspective and observation. And I've seen a lot of big accounts do that, just like anecdotally. I think people who are like in my range and like lower followers tend to be drivers of like culture and conversation more so than bigger accounts. Because it's like you're still hungry. You know what I mean? It's not like like when you listen to Jay-Z rap after he's rich, you're like, okay. But when you're listening to like Jay-Z, who's like, okay, I really want to stop selling crack, like that's the good
That's
shit.
some real shit.
Yeah, so that type of shit's always really corny. Yeah, I think like big accounts that like call out like delivery drivers and shit like that and put them on blast. That's always I always like cringe when I see that.
Yeah, that shit is cringy.
Yeah, or like big accounts who will just like take a picture of somebody in public and like post it. I'm like,
Come
yeah, you're
on.
technically, it's not like illegal or anything, because if you're in a public space, like people can take your picture and it's not like against the law, but it's just like a class thing. Like, don't be a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
Like you don't know what somebody's going through, this and that. Now, that being said, if I see someone who looks absolutely fucking ridiculous in real life, I'm gonna take a picture. I'm just gonna crop their face out. Like, just don't have their face in it. Don't have any like easily identifiable like features.
Yeah.
And then you're good to go. But it's just like there's no forethought. There's no like preemptive thinking. Everything is always just like
for the likes.
Yeah, like just I hate to use the word, but just like clout.
Yeah.
Clout.
Chasing
mania.
the clout.
Clout mania.
So, I don't know if I should ask this, but I wanted to ask what you thought. Not what you thought. Like, who do you think is the worst Twitter account on there? But I feel like that'll
Who do
just
I think is
start
the
the
worst
problem.
Twitter account?
Yeah.
That's a good question. I would say, I mean, Kyle Plan Emoji, like easily by a mile, is just the worst fucking not just Twitter account, but like human.
Yeah.
I think
for sure.
that I could just imagine existing. On so many levels, I find that dude like insufferable that I can hardly like vocalize it and put it into words. So he's easily the worst in my opinion. But
I'm happy
yeah,
I've never actually like seen him before.
yeah, I mean, oh, you don't know who that is?
Nah.
Oh, dude, he's like, I mean, he's like probably one of the most like hated, like of the corny joke like white dudes, like woke corny joke white dudes.
I see.
Yeah, like look him up after this conversation, or look him up right now, and you'll quickly understand what I mean. But he has me blocked. Like I don't see his shit anymore anyway, so I don't really care.
I thought you were gonna say OG Max B or something like that.
That's bad, but like at least that is in something where like I understand the humor. People don't hate him because of the content. They hate him because he is who he is and he's posting that content. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like it's inauthentic. Like if it was because the whole thing is like he's basically like blackfishing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas if he was an actual black dude and saying that stuff, like it would like that content is legitimately funny, even though he's stealing it.
Yeah.
But it's just because of who he is that it's like so corny and fucked up. Whereas with Kyle, it's both. It's like his identity and the shit that he posts are both the fucking worst. Yeah, he's condescending. Like he's just, I can't. Just don't get me started, man. Like that's.
I'm sorry. I wanted to get some juicy stuff for the pod, man. I'm sorry.
That's my answer. So you can look him up and you'll understand what I'm saying.
How do you feel?
Go
ahead. Sorry. No, you're good. Go ahead. My bad.
I was just gonna say I don't want to have a stroke. So.
I'm sorry.
No, yeah, you're good. You're good.
I was gonna say like, what do you think is like the best way for a reply guy to like make a platform of their own on that account? And also, do you have any reply guys that you just hate seeing, or do you just block them?
No, like I'll have not really, dude. Honestly, like I actually think it's like fun to like interact because I don't like that word reply guy anyway. It's like there are people who like your content and like take time out of their day to like. Some of them will literally reply to every single post, and it's like if you're like a girl, I can understand why that would be frustrating. But for me, it's like I know they don't want to fuck me. It's just like they're like they like you, and so if as a dude who is very easily flattered, like bring that shit on. I love it. But there will be people who what I don't like is people trying to be funny at me. You know what I mean? Like unless it's someone I actually think is funny and like I know or is a friend of mine, like. Total strangers trying to be funny at me, like I really hate that.
Yeah.
Or total strangers just like being like people will be mean as like a tool of like joking around and familiarity when they're not actually familiar with you, and that
shit's whack.
I hate that shit. So I usually will just like I don't block. I'll usually just mute because I mean I still want them to follow me, so I'll get the fucking follows and views. I'll just mute them and never see what they say again.
Yeah.
But I have a trigger happy mute button. Like if like one thing someone says annoys me, like I mute them. Like it's just.
Have you muted me yet? Honestly, be honest.
I honestly haven't. Like, but like, I'll let you know. But it's more so like if I'm in a bad mood and I just see some shit and it's like I've seen this person do it over and over and over. I'm just like, you know what? Fuck you. Like I don't want to see like. If none of your content is worth me seeing, but I just feel weird about like unfollowing you or doing something like that. Yeah. I'll just mute.
Okay.
Because like I have friends that like their Twitter content just absolutely blows. Yeah. But they're my friends. Like I don't, it's like I want to still follow them. I want to have the choice to like
see it,
never see their shit again. Yeah.
Yeah. They really went crazy with the mute function. I remember it wasn't even a thing before.
Oh yeah, they snapped with the mute button. I like the block button. I use more sparingly. I'm never like angry enough to do that, and I don't really see the point because if you mute them, like I don't really understand what the difference is. Like if you block someone, they can just open an alt and like still find your shit.
Yeah.
But blocking is super useful for like soft blocking. So I'll use it for that. Like when somebody I know gets outed for being a fucking serial rapist, like that's when that comes in handy when you're like, okay, I don't want this dude to follow me anymore.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and block and then unblock.
That's a very lethal tool as well.
Oh yeah. Yeah. The block button is, it's a killer right there.
Sorry for just asking about Twitter. I was going to ask you about a whole bunch of other shit. Like, why'd you start streaming and stuff like that?
No worries, man.
Yeah,
I think for me, okay, so Basil was already streaming, and like I've been good friends with Basil for a minute, like way before I started streaming, and so I was always like inspired by that and having his platform, and I'd always been like intrigued by it, but just like, well, one, I didn't have a PC, and two, I just like didn't know enough about it.
Mm-hmm.
So around Labor Day, or actually it literally was Labor Day because I remember going on that day because I had it off from work. I just decided to bite the bullet and like, you know what, I'm gonna throw down 1.3K and just like get a dope computer, dope monitor, like just finally do it because I had been wanting to do it for so long, and it's just like I'm never gonna stop thinking about this until I just do it.
Yeah.
Because I grew up PC gaming like all my life. Like we had consoles around the house, but PC was like that was like home base. Like I always came back to that, even when I wasn't gaming, just like hanging out and doing everything on there. So not having one was just like it felt wrong.
Yeah.
And I'd never had like a real gaming PC. You know, I was just using like the family computer or my computer. So I was like, okay, I'm at a point where I have disposable income. Like, let me just do this, and like see if it's worth the money and if it's dope, and like just never look back. Like it's one of the best purchasing decisions I've ever made. Because I get so much out of it. Like I can stream, I can, I can make money doing that. I can Photoshop, like Premiere, anything that requires like processing power, I can do it. Or I can just like watch bullshit, you know?
Yeah.
The vibes are crazy in here, man. We got fucking Jordan, we got Pat. But yeah, so like I got the PC and then I was like, you know what? I might as well fucking stream now because I guess that's a thing I can do. Like it just was never available to me before. And so I just kind of looked into it and was like, all right, let me just start doing this. And at first I was like only playing games because I didn't really know my way around and like what to do. But then over time you just get comfortable like shooting the shit, watching videos, sometimes not even watching videos, just like having the full cam and just talking. I'm super lucky because I already had like, I don't want to say a community, but I have a large pool to draw from and like spam and advertise to. So like I'll generally have a decent amount of viewers, or at least like a pretty standard average. Like it doesn't fluctuate too much. And I have like, I already had streamer friends. So it's like, oh, I have Basil supporting me and like giving me tips that, probably accelerate my learning and how fast I grow. And then, hosting me, rating me, introducing me to other people. Like I met Shamana and Hamon like through Basil. So that type of shit just helped out a lot. Like having a network of people, and obviously that just came from Twitter. And pretty much like all of my good friends, like besides my homies that I live with, are like friends that I either met from Twitter or met because of somebody I met from Twitter. Like literally the job I have right now, my best friend, like he works there and he referred me, and then I got, 6 months later I got the job. So
social media has impacted you like very positively.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's like 100% open doors for me that would not have been opened otherwise, or would have been much more difficult to open otherwise.
Yeah.
And it's just also opened my eyes to a lot of possibilities. It's like, oh, like I can be like a dude who like writes tweets for money. Like that's a thing. And yeah, it's like, oh, I can, and I don't even have to be like a freelancer. Like I can do that full time. And it's like, that's the type of like doors that it's kind of opened up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how much time do you have left before you gotta, do your thing? Because I don't want to keep you if you don't have that much time.
I mean, I gotta I'm like make her dinner so she'll be more likely to suck my cock. So I'll probably do that, but let's do like viewer questions.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Let's just jump right to that. I had a whole bunch, but we could save them for the next time you come on, man.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure we'll do it again. I've had a good time so far, so be happy to do it again. But yeah, let's do maybe 4 or 5 viewer questions or something.
Let's go, fellas. Fire them off, or I could just scroll up.
Yeah, I mean, I saw. Okay, so one of them was what's the worst time you bombed? It was kind of the scenario I was alluding to. Like I was at a bar where almost nobody was there to see stand up. And my set kind of dealt with being like an Arab and being like uncomfortably hairy and not being in a relationship, even though my 2 brothers have like kids and all that shit and like terrible sex life, all that. And there were like 9/11 jokes in it. There were like, just like phone sex jokes, like getting catfish jokes, a lot of stuff that's kind of revolves around having a semi-workable knowledge of the internet and also not being like, I don't want to say squeamish, but like being able to laugh at things that maybe are a little fucked.
Yeah.
And that was just not the vibe at this place. It was just like older, like Mexican dudes and ladies, and they were just there, like I said, to eat wings and drink some beer. And I totally respect that because I hate when I go somewhere and a dude is just like randomly doing stand up. I'm like, oh fuck, here we go. So that was the worst time I bombed. Like I maybe got 2 laughs the entire time, and they were both from my friend that came with me. And
at least you got 2.
Yeah, and it was bad enough to where like he stopped laughing at some point too. You know what I mean? Like it was just like because one, he had heard it before because I would drag my friends to every show, so like they'd seen my set probably 20 times.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that was the worst time I bombed.
You guys got any more questions? Let's go. The man is here and he's ready.
Yeah. Oh, best stand up was literally my last one. The last one I ever did. So there's this. I don't know if you've ever heard of the Ice House.
No, I have not. What is that?
Oh, okay, so like it's a comedy club in Pasadena. They have a couple, not just in Pasadena, but Pasadena is the main one. And if you ever watch like Joe Rogan or any of those other dudes, like they regularly perform at the Ice House. So it's been performed at by super famous comedians like back in the day, Seinfeld, Robin Williams. It's basically like on the level of like the Comedy Store, but it's in Pasadena. And I got booked on a show there, and I was the last dude to go up. And that dude, I will tell you, that is just like a nerve-wracking experience on multiple levels because you have to wait for everybody else to go. And so I was literally outside chain smoking for like an hour and a half, like literally waiting. And then
did you go through a whole pack?
Easily American Spirits. And not only that, but you have to be really good because you're finishing the show.
Yeah.
So if you finish the show and it sort of just like fizzles out, the promoter or the dude booking it is going to be like, oh, fuck this guy. Like you want to start off strong and then the ending is like bang. If you're in the middle and you fizzle out, it's whatever. You're more so fucking up the dude after you. But the booker probably won't care so much. Whereas like first and last are the most important.
Mm-hmm.
So I was closing out a fully packed room at the Ice House, probably like 50 people crammed into this room, like a little bit older, not like super old, maybe like 30s to 40s, and just shitting myself. And I went up there like shitting myself. But it's like you walk into that room and you gotta be the dude. Like you can't walk up there and be like like scared. Like you have to just
grab
own
it up.
You gotta grab that mic like it's a fucking python and like battle that shit. So yeah, I just started like bantering with the host. Like I already knew him and we knew each other, so we were just like giving each other shit, and then just went into my set, and that was like the most comfortable I'd ever been performing. Like not even worrying about forgetting something I was gonna say, like freestyling at certain points and just going off script based off of like their reactions or something that was going on in the room. And yeah, it was like it was the first time where ever like you'll see comics like interact with a stool if it's on stage. Like I was doing, like I was just like going from like sitting on it to like getting up and moving around the stage, which like I had never really done before.
Yeah.
And yeah, I killed.
You were in
and
the
then
zone.
I killed, and then I never did stand up again.
You went out. You went out on a high note.
I went out a killer. So that was my best experience. Yeah. Yeah.
So Pat wants to know, what is your daily hair routine?
Oh man. So I wouldn't say daily, but like yeah, man, of course. Happy to answer. So every other day I condition my hair. So if you don't know what conditioning is, it's basically like making sure your hair is moisturized. If you have curls, it's like super important because it gets knotted up and tangled and just like drier way easier. And so I do that every other day. And then like on alternating sets of those every other days, I'll also do like it's like psoriasis shampoo because I just have like super dry scalp. So I'll do that and then just get the fucking flakes out straight up, and then I will either put it up in like a ponytail, a bun, or just have it flow. But I've stopped like brushing it a lot because I just like having it be sort of like natural and down. You don't really need to when it's conditioned well.
Yeah.
And then like every weekend or so, I'll like moisturize and shampoo my facial hair, and then I would say probably like every 2 to 3 weeks I'll trim my facial hair too. And that's pretty much it. I mean, besides that, it's just the basics like drinking a lot of water. I take like supplements, so like I take biotin, I take collagen, fish oil. So yeah, all that shit, like just general maintenance. Being healthy and just like eating food that's not absolutely terrible for you helps out a lot, and people neglect that. And yeah, just like not drinking a ton and getting dehydrated.
Wow, that was amazing, man. I now know like what to do.
Oh yeah, dude. I mean, honestly, dude, like I knew none of that, but I had to learn it because I just started having long hair, and I was like, oh, okay, well now I need to do things that I've never done before because my whole life I had short hair or like buzzed.
I couldn't imagine you with short hair, man.
Yeah, that was most of my life. I used to buzz my hair in high school, like totally bald. Like I just started growing it out, basically coming here, and I haven't gotten a haircut in like 2 years, and I probably never will again.
Do you feel like you have to keep the hair long now? Because then you're just gonna be sweaty.
Honestly, I don't, because it's not just the head hair. It's like I'm kind of hairy everywhere. So that's always going to be a part of who I am. But like,
okay.
I feel no pressure towards that. Like I just like having it this way. So it's like, I'll probably never not like, I might trim it. Like every now and then I'll have a buddy like trim anything that's in the back that's like too far for me to get. But I am always going to be sweaty. That's true. Like it's just bad, dude. Like people think it's a joke because like I joke about it and like that's my name or whatever, but like I have such powerful sweat glands, like just any amount of physical activity and like I'm sweating for like an hour, which is it's a really good thing if you're like, you know, in the desert, because it cools you down. But yeah, I just have to drink a lot of water and you know, keep like tissues around me.
Nice.
Straight up.
Anybody got any more questions for Zane?
I think so. Kuzma said, "Are you gonna riot with me when Biden wins?" Hopefully that doesn't happen, but
he's fucking weird.
Yeah,
he's very bizarre.
So he's a weird fucking groper, you know, dementia having molester dude. Just weird as fuck, man.
He fell off since Obama was president.
Yeah, totally. Pat said, I still remember the Tiny Baby Man episode when Zane changed his ad. Dude, that was a historic moment. Like we all changed our ads, like our handles at the same time, like on the pod. Because I had been trying to figure out what to do next with mine. I was kind of tired of it. And I was doing like, you know, quote unquote rebrand. And yeah, we came up with Sweaty Harry and history was born. That's when Max changed his as well.
Oh, wow. Are you ever
Yeah.
gonna bring the podcast back?
Nope.
No? Why not?
Nope. Because I stream now, and it's like that's way more dope to me. And we just
Why don't you just do it
collectively-
live?
We collectively decided to never do it again.
Oh, okay.
Because we had fun, but it just became work. Like Max was doing most of the editing, and like he was already busy with work stuff, and it was hard to like coordinate times to meet during the week, and we just stopped wanting to do it. So it's like,
Yeah.
why would we do this if we don't want to?
Yeah.
If they want to hop on Discord and hop on my stream, like I do that. Like Max will hop on. Like if Jim ever wants to, like I'd love to have him on and just shoot the shit. But to me, that's like way more dope way to like connect with an audience, And
Yeah.
I mean, let's be totally honest. Like we had a Patreon and we were making some money off of that, but I make way more money off of Twitch. So, and I don't have to split it with anyone. So I'd rather do that.
Well,
Besides Jeff
Bezos.
Yeah. Besides Jeff Bezos.
Dark Wolf's been spamming this question. What is your thoughts on the OnlyFans mass popularity?
I think, okay, well, a few things. Like, I think anything that removes like gatekeeping is generally a good thing. So in this case, like removing the gatekeeping of like big porn channels who don't always have like the best practices in mind and maybe will like exploit performers.
Good.
But that being said, I think like it's also kind of a breeding ground, or like it's so easy now that I feel like people who wouldn't necessarily do that and maybe are just like in a dire financial situation will do it and then possibly regret it later. Like I don't want to take away anyone's autonomy and like decision making process. Like clearly if you're an adult, you know what's best for you, and like if you want to do that, more power to you.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that part gives me pause, and that says more about like the economy and where we're at as a country than OnlyFans specifically. But it's just like a symptom of that, because I don't think a lot of those people would necessarily get involved in like quote unquote sex work.
Yeah.
And I also don't, it's also like, I mean, this is totally an aside. It's not really relevant, but like the people who like just do that and call themselves sex workers, like
Come
you're
on.
kind of just like, yeah, it's like you're not like real sex workers like are like legitimately putting themselves in danger when they go to a fucking hotel room and stuff. So yeah, it's just not the same. But
some
yeah,
of them
there's
don't
that
even
one.
like. No, I'm not even gonna. I was gonna say like some of them don't even like have sex on their OnlyFans.
Oh, 100%. Some most sex like they just do like jerk off instruction videos and like like they use the
mirror
fake cock.
selfies.
Yeah, the fake cock and like the fake cum and all that. It's like, all right, bro. Like, hey, if someone's willing to pay for it, fucking do it. I can't talk shit because like I'm a dude that gets some of his income playing video games and like watching retarded videos online. So
It's technically playing with yourself on camera.
yeah,
It's the
exactly.
same shit, really.
Bro, I've been playing with myself this entire time we've been talking. So I've literally just been driving cars around GTA because it helps me think.
Yeah. You have very long and thoughtful answers, dude. Honestly,
Oh, well.
they're really
thanks,
good.
man.
They're really good.
Appreciate that.
I don't want to keep you from your blowjob or whatever you got going on. Your
Your
potential blowjob.
I think she's on her way, so